Welcome back to Life at the Park. This is a podcast where shared stories are deepened in our love for God and for one another. Today's guest is Sinde. Jan actually serves as the PE teacher in our school and has done so for almost a decade. She actually is the one, if you've ever been to field day and seen how it runs like a well-oiled machine where parents and students alike just love the day, she's the one that oversees that, and you can thank her for all of her hard work. She's a wife, she's a mom of 2 teenagers, and she's been a church member now for 9 years. On a personal note, Jan and I became really good friends as we got to serve as PE teachers together in the school. And during that time, she almost became like a sister to me in some ways. And I even start my conversation with her acknowledging that fact. I think as you get to know her a little bit through this conversation, you'll see some of the reasons why. One of the things that makes Jan's story compelling is that she was really the first person in her family to place her faith in Jesus. After generations of people who didn't know him, she praises God that he ultimately drew her to himself. And she points to all the times that were hard and painful and confusing and sees that they weren't pointless, but rather they were things God was using to refine her and draw her to himself. We end our conversation with her giving us just some practical advice, and that is that we should live life with open hands, trusting that God is going to use our time, our relationships, or any next season of life for different purposes that he has for us. And so we need to trust him with that and live life with open hands. I think you'll enjoy getting to know Jan better. Here's Jan's story. Thank you so much for doing this. I am really glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. I'm excited.
Good. Well, I think something that maybe others don't know that I've shared with you before and actually shared with even one of my sisters before is that during our time of working in the gym together as PE teachers, I feel like you became like a sister to me. And I think others may not know that, but I think it's super fun now for others to get to know you a little bit better and hear how God's worked in your life. So
yes,
anyway,
I totally agree.
Thanks for doing this. To kick things off, it's fun to let people get to know you through some icebreakers. I'm going to start with a few this or that questions I've got for you. So thinking about you as a teacher in the PE realm and seeing that you oversee field day, I'm kicking it off with, would you pick field day or the last day of school?
Oh, that's a hard one because field day is one of my favorite days of the year.
But the last day of school is nice.
I would say field day.
Field day.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Would you choose a clipboard or an iPad?
Clipboard.
Nice. To survive the busyness of life and school, would you choose iced coffee or hot coffee?
Depends on the time of day.
All right. So
either
mid-afternoon.
one, though. I'll take either one.
Okay. So mid-afternoon, are you going for the iced coffee or is that when you go hot coffee?
I've kind of cut back on the coffee, actually.
Good for you.
So I just drink it in the morning, and it's usually hot.
All right. Very nice. Well, another one, because I see you with these sometimes, and you've been kind of hook me up occasionally, which is with chocolate. Do you like dark chocolate or milk chocolate better?
Milk.
Milk chocolate. All right. How about this? A short power nap or only take a nap if it's going to be like a full-blown over an hour, or are you a like no nap person?
Oh, I like my naps.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say long naps.
Long naps.
Yeah.
All right. You ever do a power nap?
I tried one yesterday, and it backfired. I woke up more tired than when I actually went down. Yeah.
Sarah will not, like, she's not a nap person. Like
really?
If she takes a nap, she just feels out of it the rest of the day. It feels like it wasn't worth it. So anyway. All right. You're looking for something to help out with needs at the house or for a kid. Are you going to Target or are you buying it on Amazon Prime?
Amazon.
Yeah. So easy.
Yep.
So easy.
Yep. We like Amazon.
Yeah. It's super nice. All right. If we were to catch you eating chocolate at 8 a.m. because it's about to be a big day, it's already started off tough. It's because...
Field day.
It's field day.
It's field day.
Love the day, but it's also a busy one. All right.
Yes.
What is the ultimate top tier chocolate of choice? Like, what's your go-to brand or?
Oh, anything with nuts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like even a Mr. Good bar, or is it got to be okay?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Hey, those are the ones that the kids. I feel like my kids would be like,
yeah.
And I used to not like them either, but now it's kind of nice. So.
Yeah.
All right. All right, school life. What's the funniest excuse a student's ever given you, whether it's for something that you gave them as an assignment or for the fact they're not dressed out for PE? Any excuses you've ever gotten from a student that
Probably be they turn the shower on while changing. Because sometimes kids will change in the locker room in the shower stall and accidentally hit the water knob and turn the shower on.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Something you did this past year that was super encouraging was you gave a lot of teachers notes that students had written with something encouraging. I know it meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to others. If you could secretly pass an encouraging note to every teacher in America right now, what would it say?
That's a good one. I don't know. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. It really is a good thing, and you're definitely influencing the future.
Awesome. All right. You've got 2 kids. They're both teenagers now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what is one of your favorite ways to embarrass them? Or is just being with them embarrassing to them enough, you know?
Probably would be dancing in the aisle at the store.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yep. Or singing along with the song that's on at the store. Yes. Yes.
I'm picturing both of them. I'm imagining, what is Lauren doing? Like, does she just walk away?
Mom,
or does
stop.
Yes. I just wouldn't be surprised if they just split.
They'll do that too.
All right. And then here's a couple of most likely to questions. These are our final icebreakers.
Okay.
One is, who is most likely to lose their keys? You, your husband, or your kids?
Me.
Okay. You own it.
I have a habit, even at school, of leaving my keys in a door handle or on my desk. I've locked myself out. It'd be me.
Okay, perfect. It's probably me too here, and I think you know that because of how many times I leave my coffee mug in the gym. And anyway. All right. And then in your family, who's most likely to cry during a heartwarming
me.
movie, commercial, TV show? Okay.
If there's an emotional scene, my kids and husband will keep an eye on me, watch, oh, mom's about to cry.
Does their eye on you make you more like self-conscious of it? Or is it just like, you just can't? Okay.
Yes.
Does it ever help you stop? Or is it more like, it's just.
No, once I start crying.
You just can't help it. Oh.
It's hard to stop.
Well, emotions are a gift, that's for sure. So,
yes.
Well, we're going to start back at the beginning with just, I don't know, maybe we kick things off with what's one of your memories from early on. I'm not sure what your school experience was in elementary years, but it could even be before that, like maybe a story you've been told about yourself or something you remember in those early years.
You know, I think this might be hard to believe, but I was crazy as a kid. Like, I was a tomboy. I was very adventurous. I loved being outside.
Did you get a lot of opportunity to like go explore woods? Or,
oh, yes. We were outside all the time.
Awesome.
Riding bikes, exploring the woods. I have scars from my little treks in the woods because we would build forts and, you know, we used our imaginations.
Yeah.
One crazy story would be when I wrecked my bike going down a hill that was all gravel.
Okay.
And I couldn't stop. And so I flipped over the handlebars and landed in a briar patch. So I have scars from that, but that is,
oh my word,
that is typical Jan.
Hilarious.
For sure.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
Man, was bike riding one of the favorite things? Your favorite things growing up?
I would pretend that I was in the circus since I'd do tricks on my bikes. I'm an 80s child, so we didn't have technology.
Oh. Just out there. Were you ever, so if you're doing tricks, like what type of tricks? Were you ever standing on the seat or standing on the bar?
Yes. Or I would sit on the handlebars and my sister would ride pedal the bike. And
okay. And how many siblings? You mentioned your sister.
Yep. So I have 2 sisters.
Okay.
Both are older.
All right.
My oldest one is 6 years older than me. She didn't really participate much in my shenanigans. And then my sister Evelyn, she's 4 years older,
Okay.
and she has special needs, and she was my best friend growing up.
Aw.
I could always get her in on all the craziness.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How fun. Do you have any memories from your elementary years? Anything at school, maybe field trip, teacher that stands out, certain friend, some experience?
I think it was either kindergarten or first grade. The first time we dug out or carved out a pumpkin and then baked the pumpkin seeds. I am 45 years old and I still remember that just being such a fun experience.
Nice.
I love pumpkin seeds.
It's
one of my favorites.
So still to this day,
yeah.
Do your kids enjoy like doing that with you? Do you guys
They
do that every Halloween?
Yeah,
time,
we don't
or?
do it every year, but we've done it more so when they were younger.
That's so fun. Yeah, I know we got to do it some growing up, but
Yeah.
they were okay. I never like loved them. Something about the texture of the pumpkin seeds when eating them, but cool. That's so fun. Were there any subjects that you enjoyed in school in those early years that you remember? Like, was it for you? Was it like science or math or reading? Did you take to reading quickly or?
I liked spelling. I moved around a lot.
Okay.
So being in a school for like growing up in one school didn't happen for me, but I did enjoy spelling. So
what kept you moving school to school? What was?
So I was taken from my home, removed from my home when I was 7. My sisters and I, and we were placed into children's homes and foster homes, and I grew up doing that until I was about 13. I went to live at Miracle Hill, which is where I heard the gospel consistently and got saved there. And then I went to live with a foster family and stayed there until I graduated.
Wow.
So
I'm curious for you in that time as a 7-year-old, and I want you to feel free to enter as much of this as you want or as little as you would like. But
yeah,
I'm sure that's something that you remember. What was that like for you to end up going into different homes, having that as a part of your journey, being in multiple schools?
Yeah. So life before that seemed normal to me. I felt like it was a healthy childhood, being outside, typical, for all kids. And then I still remember plain as day, second grader, DSS coming and picking me up from school, getting my sisters and driving away in the car. I was in the middle of the seat and I was turned around watching. You see it in movies, kids when they're being removed from home, them crying. For me, that was real. Watching my mom fade away in the distance as we were being driven away from the life that we've always known. And that started the wall that I built up around my heart. It was definitely uncertain. I never knew where I was going to be from one day to the next, or if my sisters would be with me. I never felt like my own self. Like the first children's home that we went to, they had a closet of clothes that all the kids shared. I was in a big room with bunk beds, so I never had my own space.
Yeah.
So there I felt like a number rather than, a child.
Yep.
So we were there for a few years, and then we went to our first foster home. And again, it was, even though it was smaller, it was still a room with bunk beds, and we shared the clothes. But that's my first experience of hearing about Jesus. We were bus kids. Even though, like, the foster parents didn't go to church, they were fine with us, the kids, going. I think it just kind of gave them a break.
Yeah.
And so I remember, singing songs and going to church, and it wasn't consistent, but that's my first experience.
What church was that?
I don't even remember.
Okay, cool. And that was all here in the upstate?
Yes, I've always lived in Greenville or around here.
For someone here who may volunteer or be connected to Miracle Hill in some ways, helping out, are there any conversations you had as you went from those early years into the years of foster home before you said at 13 is when you ended up at Miracle Hill?
Yes.
Were there certain things that people would ever say as they interacted with you or talked to you? Because I think you also mentioned you had started to build a wall, but I'm wondering, were there ever certain ways that people would interact with you, like adults or other people that seemed to like still connect to you some, or was it, I don't know, like what would you give advice to me or to someone else who's interacting with someone who's in one of those places of hardship where they've had to be removed from their home and they're facing that? What would be a way to bridge that gap and be able to talk to them in a way that could connect?
I think behavior explains a lot. For me, I didn't broadcast that I was going through this. I was very private.
Okay.
I felt like if people knew, then they would judge me, even though it wasn't of my doing.
Right.
I was just suffering the consequences of other people's actions and choices. So I'm going through the Bible recap, and the host said this week, she said, we don't live in a vacuum, or we don't sin in a vacuum. Our choices and our sin does affect those around us.
Yes.
And I thought, that is so true. That is what I was experiencing as a child. And of course, now I still, but sometimes you just don't know what others are going through. And I tell my students, I tell my own kids that you don't know what others are going through. So treat them with respect.
Yep.
Make sure that when you are with them, that your words are building them up and encouraging them. For me, I didn't really, even my friends in seventh grade never knew, because I was with a foster family, and it was in February when I was removed from that foster family and went to Miracle Hill, but I stayed at the same school.
Okay.
But I never told them what was going on. I didn't want them to know. They knew that something was different, but I didn't verbalize it. I don't know. I just wanted to keep it private. I didn't want them to treat me any differently. And I think, again, that's just the wall being built higher and higher around me, that, you know, I don't want to be treated differently. I don't want you to pity me.
Right.
I was very prideful.
Were there any times after that, you're saying seventh grade, that you had friends that you did start to confide in and share that with? Or was that something that for years you kind of kept quiet even after that seventh grade year?
So after seventh grade, I started a Christian school, which was a culture shock for me because I'd gone through public school all the way up. And so this would be early 90s, where in Christian schools, you only wore skirts and the girls wore skirts and dresses. And I hardly ever wore a dress. And so learning how to get into vehicles, like 15 passenger vans in a skirt, that was something I had to learn how to do, because you just, you know, it was definitely awkward at the beginning. I ripped a couple of skirts from having to, you know, get into a van and not really knowing how to do it. But little things like that you don't even think about. Like, I never knew how to be a young lady even. How to have manners. Those little things, when you're being passed along or passed around as a child from home to home, those little things just slip through the cracks that nobody even really, you know, thinks about. So when I started in 8th grade at Christian school, the kids at Miracle Hill went to this Christian school, so everybody knew that we were from the children's home.
I see.
So, and it was a smaller school.
Okay.
When I graduated, my senior year, the school was K-5 through 12th grade, and they had 220 kids total. So everybody knew everybody.
Yep. Did you feel like it was at some level maybe you had wanted to keep it private, but now people knew and there was something almost nice about that? Or was it something you didn't really think about too much?
People knew that I was at the Hill is what we called it, but they didn't know why.
Okay.
So that part I was able to just keep private. But I mean, the kids accepted us. Nobody,
Awesome.
we were just part of the school, part of the student body. I got to be involved in sports, played volleyball. I was a cheerleader.
Yes.
I played softball for a couple of years, ran for student council. So I was very active, even though, I had that private life, I guess you can say.
Sure. On that lane, real quick, with sports and all the extracurriculars, are there certain memories you have from that? Any specific memories from your years playing volleyball or from cheerleading? Any like fun tournament trips that you went on or a fun game? Or
Oh, yes. I think the thing that comes to mind playing sports is the bus rides, because that's where you really got to build those relationships. Late at night when you're tired, you get crazy. So we would sing crazy songs, stopping, of course, to eat at the restaurants and then falling asleep afterwards, just crashing because we're so tired. But I loved the bus rides. Those were definitely fun times.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Were there any extracurriculars you were part of with any music or any art, anything like that you did?
We were always required to do choir.
Okay.
So I did choir.
Did you enjoy that? Or
I
was
did.
It more just, okay.
I did.
Cool.
Yeah. And we would go to SCACs. Hampton Park was actually one of our competitions.
Nice.
In sports as well. But Hampton Park always won at SCACs. We knew that, they were gonna be better. But
did they have an attitude? Were they prideful about it, or did it feel that way?
I don't remember, because they were.
That's good.
They've always been so big. We were just a little school, so we knew.
Okay, good. So
they're big. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah. Was there anything that you would be willing to share, would like to go back to in regards to some of your, I guess, testimony of faith? Like you mentioned it wasn't until being at Miracle Hill that you really heard the good news about Jesus. And then you're at a Christian school, 8th grade and on. Is that right? 8th grade and on. So in your story, going from years of not knowing really anything about it to then being introduced to it, was it something that fairly quickly God worked on your heart and you came to him? Or when you mentioned this wall, was that something there for years? Like what's some of the...
Yes. So the wall was there for years.
Okay. Even towards God, even towards Jesus? Or was that more just towards others? Okay.
So at Miracle Hill, we called them cottages.
Okay.
Each home went to different churches, and my cottage went to Faith Baptist in Taylor's.
Okay.
And Pastor Vaughn was our speaker or preacher, and he was speaking on heaven and hell. And it was an evening service, and I knew that I'd never done the big sins like kill anybody or robbed a bank or anything like that, but I also knew that I didn't have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
And so that evening I went home and I was just kind of having my own battle with God and just asking, well, if my parents, if I couldn't trust them, if they failed me, how do I know that you're not going to do the same thing? And trust has been a big thing with me, because I feel like so far, up until my 13 years, I haven't been able to trust anybody because life was just so uncertain. So you're telling me that you're going to be faithful and you're going to, keep your word. So I had to wrestle with that. And the Lord just was so kind and gentle. And I eventually just said, okay, I know I'm not saved. Would you forgive me of my sins? Would you come into my heart? And for the first couple of weeks, I guess, I didn't understand that I only had to do that one time. So every night I would ask, okay, Lord, if I'm not saved,
Then
would
tonight,
would you come into my heart? And I'd repeat the same thing. Forgive me of my sins. And just over time of hearing God's word and maturing, because then at Miracle Hill, I got the consistent teaching of God's word and, just seeing God's word lived out in my house
What
parents.
A gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I realized I don't have to keep asking. God didn't have to continually make those sacrifices. He was the final sacrifice. And then I realized, okay, if I'm truly believing in him, then it's done.
Yeah.
And so from then I just continue to trust that he is good and he's going to keep his word. And I mean, he hasn't failed me.
Yeah. How old were you when Pastor Vaughn
13.
spoke that night that you remember? Okay, so it was
shortly,
early once you...
It was shortly after coming to Miracle Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of that couple weeks there as an 8th grader or around that age?
Yes.
And then...
8th grade.
How cool.
Yeah. And then just the first thing that the Lord convicted me of when I got saved was my bitterness towards my parents. I didn't want anything to do with them. So when I was removed from my home, I didn't see my dad ever again. And I had visits with my mom, and there was a point where DSS told her, if you want to get your children back, then you need to remove some people from your life. And she chose not to do that. And I hated her. Like, I've never hated anybody in my life, but I can honestly say I didn't want anything to do with her. Any cards or gifts that she sent, I didn't even want them because she had betrayed me. She sent a message that she didn't want me. Or in my mind, that's what she was saying.
Right.
And then when I got saved, for the Lord to say, that bitterness is sin. So even though I didn't see them in my heart, I had to forgive them.
How quick was that after getting saved? Was that years later? Or was
no, it was,
Really?
I don't know, probably few weeks, months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I'm realizing, that means you were just a little younger, but almost the age that Andrew is, and Lauren's now actually almost that age.
Yeah.
So it's at that age where you're wrestling with that. And that is significant. I mean, anyway, how amazing that he was working in you even then. I feel like it wouldn't have surprised me to hear in your story if that was years later that he helped you see that bitterness, but for you to see it right away and be able to start.
I think part of it is, I went to Miracle Hill before my sisters did.
Okay.
And then a few months later, they came.
Okay.
So they were at a different children's home.
Okay.
They wouldn't let my sister with special needs, they didn't want her to be in the same cottage with me because growing up, I was her protector. And they said, you just need to be a kid. You don't need, she is safe. She's going to be taken care of. But we just want you to just enjoy childhood.
How did you feel
because
about
growing
that?
up, at first it hurt.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, again, I was still worrying. I was still dealing with trust issues.
Right.
I need to protect her. I need to make sure that she's okay. And I saw her all the time, but I understood what they were meaning. And so I think for me, I was more mature than, a lot of kids my age because I had to be. I had to grow up faster than should have been.
Yeah. I mean, there may be some people who listen to this that are the age that you were then. And I think sometimes when adults offer them something like that, they're trying to maybe protect them in some way or help them in some way that at first is hard to understand. I think it is neat that at that age you were able to maybe be a little hurt and frustrated by it at first, but able to have some understanding that they were doing it. Do you feel like if you're facing trust issues, do you feel like there were people there already earning your trust quickly? Do you feel like that was a work that God was doing in your heart right away? Like what maybe, how would you describe that happening so quickly? I think that's incredible.
I think I loved my house parents.
Okay.
They were so kind. And they worked on building a relationship with me. And I was already there a few months before my sisters. So I think, and that's totally God.
Yeah.
He knew that I just needed my time to just learn to trust people. And these people were there day in and day out consistently and just loved on me. Even though I was broken, they just poured their lives into me. Even after they left Miracle Hill, I still had a relationship with them. I still went and visited with them. And
that's cool.
And I think a part that I missed was when I was younger, probably around 8 or 9, my sisters and I could have been adopted. We were put up for adoption, and the Lord allowed us not to be adopted. And looking back now, I think that is totally God's will, because He wanted me to be at Miracle Hill, to hear His word, and to grow and experience what Miracle Hill is like. So here I am. I'm, a little advertisement for Miracle Hill, but I am all
amazing
for them because of the consistency that I experienced in loving Jesus. And, Pastor Drew talks about, or maybe it's you talking about being the hands and feet of Jesus. And my house parents were doing that.
That's amazing.
And it wasn't for fame. It wasn't. Yep. It was not for money, but it was because they loved Jesus. Yeah. So I got to have that example of what having a relationship with Jesus was like.
So in that few months, where they're building that trust with you quickly from being there day in, day out, is this, I don't know the scenario there well enough, like the setup. Did you have your own room yet or your own clothes, or was this still a shared space? And then those parents, how many of the children there were they parents to? What was? So
our cottage, I was in with the older girls or like the high schoolers. It was 2 girls for each room, and I had my own clothes.
Okay.
I started to feel more like Jan, not a number.
Yeah.
And they even, really worked on that this is your space. This is your bed. This is your side of the closet, but I didn't have to share my clothes. Like I had my own dresser. So they really worked on that. And I think the most that we had were 8 girls. And the time that I got saved, I actually was in the room by myself. So, and even with that, I think all the little things that God thinks about that He knows that we need, like He knew that I needed that time to myself to just wrestle with Him and come to a saving knowledge. I needed that time alone.
Wow.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel like I didn't ask you this yet. Did you kind of, after you said it was a couple weeks of you asking God to forgive you and come into your heart and save you, but was that something you went on then to tell those cottage parents or tell other people that you were living with or tell people at the church or
I did tell my house parents. They were older, like grandparent age. Okay. And they were definitely they were the best grandparents because that was their desire, to see me come to know Jesus. So to be able to tell them, they got to be a part of helping me grow. Yeah. And talking about Jesus was culture, that's their Christian ministry. So it wasn't a bad thing to be, talking about Jesus and talking about having a new relationship with Him. That was a good thing. Yeah. So they were very excited for me, and they were definitely there to help me grow and help explain these things that I didn't understand, because obviously I was a new baby in Christ, and I felt like I was just starting life. I know that might sound weird, but all this turmoil that I experienced up until that point was part of God's plan. But now I'm starting over as a new creature in Christ. So what does that look like? And they got to be a part of that journey.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Were there other people that God was using in those years? Obviously, those house parents, but was there a youth pastor, or was there any mentors that came alongside of you at the school, or anyone that was a part of those high school years where...
Oh, I loved all of my teachers in the Christian school. They were all like, because it was a small school, we were definitely more family oriented. I knew most of the teachers personally. And I think I probably 10th, 11th grade, I started realizing the sacrifices that they had made to be, one of my closest teachers worked for NASA.
Wow.
And she quit that to come and work for a little Christian school.
Wow.
That was a testimony to me that, money didn't mean anything to her. She chose to serve Christ in a small Christian school and teach kids about Christ and how Christ fits into science, or science fits with Christ's plan.
So she would be one example, but you even feel like it was kind of more of the community that you're a part of now of believers was the...
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool when that's the environment that helps you grow. Even God will give us sometimes a mentor or someone that's, a very trusted person that we're close to.
Yeah.
But when you have a lot of people that you feel genuinely love you, they're there to help you versus just get a paycheck or something else. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, you get towards the end of high school, you graduate.
Yes.
What was next for you? Like, what was your thought process going into that part of life? What were you thinking at that time?
That was the question, what's next? So I met my future foster parents the first summer that I was at Miracle Hill.
Okay.
The foster dad was 6'8". My goal when I graduated high school, no joke, was I just want to reach 5 feet. I really did. And the Lord said, I'm going to make you 4'11 3/4. That's going to be the end for you. 6'8", that's ginormous.
Huge. That's huge.
And his wife was much shorter.
Okay.
I think she got to be 5'6".
Okay.
I met them. We went to Aunt Sue's, which is, a little mom and pop place near Table Rock. Went there for lunch, got to know them. Again, I still had this wall around my heart. So I kept them at a distance. But, I'm going to be cordial. I'm going to get to know them. Who else is coming into my life wanting to know, have a part or whatever. So on Christmas break, Easter break, anytime we had a school break, I would go and stay with them at their house. And even now, when I think of their house, I think of the smell walking in the door of homemade bread.
Nice.
So when I smell homemade bread, I think of their house. And I love that memory.
That's cool.
I make homemade bread. That's one of my hobbies. And I don't know if there's a connection there, but it's definitely a warm feeling for me. So I advanced, I guess, moved on to an independent living girls cottage, which is still part of Miracle Hill, but it's out in the community in Greenville. They wanted me to go sooner, but I was too young. So at 16, I went to live in this cottage where I was learning life skills. I got my first job, which is really cool. My first boss, her husband is now Andrew's first boss, which I love that.
Oh, that's cool.
So we've known them for years. My senior year, I started having lots of questions like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
and just telling God, I'm about to enter this big world alone. I don't know what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go. And the guidance counselor at Miracle Hill at the time knew, because I, was talking with her. And so she contacted my foster parents, the Tiptons.
Okay.
He was an assistant pastor at Mount Calvary.
Okay.
And just said, hey, I think she's ready to come and live with you full time. So they were so patient. I was rough around the edges at, even at this point in my life, even being at Miracle Hill this long. So they patiently, waited. They were seasoned foster parents.
Okay.
They knew,
that there's time in that part of the journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at 17, I went and lived with them June 1st of 1998. Went to live with them, and that was really hard because for the first time ever, I was the only child in the home. And some might think, oh, but you get to have their undivided attention. There's no competition. It's quiet.
Yeah.
But there's also fear and definitely loneliness set in for me because I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know.
So different.
Yeah, it was so different. And my sister, I was still, talking with my sisters. They left Miracle Hill before I did. My older sister went to live, they helped her get her own apartment, just become independent. And she's the one that I'm not very close with. But I remember us talking on the phone and me asking, please don't hang up. Wow. Please keep talking to me, because I was so lonely. Yeah. And I didn't know what to do with that. It was that took some adjusting. And being a pastor and pastor's wife, they were busy. So learning how to share them, becoming a pastor's kid. I mean, the church knew that I was their foster daughter, but they never treated me any differently. Some of my closest friends I met when I first went to live there with them. So it was just really cool to see this kid who's come from such a broken part of life to now being a pastor's kid, learning how to have a relationship, learning how to read my Bible, learning Christian songs, learning even what to put in a purse. I mean, again, we talked about, little things slipping through the cracks. Right. I didn't know what to carry in a purse. So my foster mom taught me, a lot of these things, and just learning how to view life positively and not so much that the world is out to get me. Because I think a lot of times, people who have experienced things like I have see us as victims, and we see everybody's out against us. We've got this label and we've got to overcome it. And that's not always the case. And it was during my time with my foster parents that my foster dad said, we want to love you, but you've got to let us. And he's the one who pointed out the wall. I didn't realize what I was doing growing up, but he's the one who pointed out, you have this wall around your heart and you're not letting anybody in. People are wanting to come in. They want to love you, but only you can take that wall down. So I think that's when, brick by brick, the Lord started bringing people into my life to help take that wall down. How
did you receive it when he shared that with you? Had he already earned enough trust that you feel like that that's what helped in that moment, or?
He was a gentle giant. Anybody who knew him knew he was such a gentle man. At this point, holidays were the hardest because holidays, we know, are family. That's when you spend time with family. But I didn't have, in my mind, I didn't have a family.
Right.
So I would always get very reclusive. I would get negative in my attitude and see the world and everything. Holidays, I hated Christmas, hated it. Because it was just so hard. And when he told me that, we were in the living room talking, and it was an aha moment for me, because that's what you call it. It's that wall. I knew that I had it. I knew what I was experiencing, but I didn't know what it was called. So when he told me that, I was like, oh, that's so true. So then, because I loved them, and they never treated me any differently than they did their own daughters, I wanted them to love me. And I think that's when I started, okay, I want them into my life. I want them, I want to experience a family. So I started working on my relationship with them. I started becoming more teachable, having conversations with them, letting them, not being offended when they wanted to teach me or have conversations with me, because I knew they were on my side. They weren't out to, to hurt me, or they were going to be around for a while, which when I realized that, because, it's
a big difference.
I'm not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. That was huge for me.
That is a huge thing.
Yeah.
That is a huge thing. Such a good foundation of trust.
Yeah.
That means, that's only a year before you are making some of those decisions. So what were some of the conversations then about whether it was college or work or what career path, or what were the things to do with that next stage of life?
So I lived with them. I went to live with them the summer before my senior year of high school. And to this day, my senior year of high school was my favorite year of all my education. Because I had parents. Yeah. And parents are so important. Being there is so important. We lived in Greenville. The school was in Easley. And he drove me to school every morning, picked me up every afternoon, came to all of my games. And just, they were my cheerleaders.
That's amazing.
And as a parent, I know how important that is for a kid. I ran for student body president and won that. My slogan was, if you can't be seen, you've got to be heard. And so my foster mom helped me.
For you.
It did. Because I always got teased for being short.
For being not heard. You could be heard.
Oh, absolutely. My husband will tell me, sometimes after school, babe, why are you yelling? Tone it down.
It's so fun.
But my foster mom helped make signs for that. She helped make baked goods for senior concessions, and they were just so vital.
Wow.
And they filled that role beautifully for me. They showed me they were a good example of being a parent, a good parent should look like. So they helped me decide where to go to college. Back then, Bob Jones was the main college. So I went to Bob Jones. They helped me enroll. I didn't know I didn't know what to do at all. So they helped me enroll for school. They helped me with all the testing and all the supplies and just that. Even if you are in a good family, that is an overwhelming time.
So many things. Yeah.
I didn't know what to like, how do you pick a major? I didn't know. So they helped me decide, okay, special education, because I had worked at Camp Spearhead with kids and adults with special needs. They saw that's a gift that you have. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
I was in speech and drama in high school, and they saw a gift there. So
cool.
I minored in speech.
Nice.
And then, after I think the third weekend, every semester I was done. I just had enough.
This isn't for me.
I did not like school. It was hard because growing up, I didn't have consistent, day in, day out. So it was, I had to work hard for my grades, and I did fine, but it was a lot of work.
Yep.
So I was tired. I ended up changing my major because I decided I don't want to be a special ed teacher.
Okay.
But I knew that I told the Lord, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to serve you. And I'm willing to do what you want me to do. So I majored in practical Christian training, which I describe it as a spiritual humanities major.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of Bible, you get a lot of different areas of ministry, still minored in speech.
Okay.
And I've just kept that. Lord, whatever you want me to do, I'm willing to do it. So I was able to graduate in 4 years.
Way to go.
Debt free.
Wow.
Because I was still with Miracle Hill. They had donors who donated to college students. And not a lot of kids stuck around that long or went through college all 4 years. But I also was still part of DSS. So back then for DSS, I could sign myself out at 18 and be done with them.
Okay.
But if I stayed, and I was not a problem child. Like, I wasn't running away. I wasn't causing issues in the home or anything like that. So I was a pretty easy case, but they helped pay for college. So I was able to graduate in 4 years, debt-free.
Wow.
And even that is totally of the Lord.
Yep.
So I'm just very thankful in all the details and just not being in charge of it, letting the Lord work and just being willing and open. I've gotten to experience his goodness.
Oh, man. Yeah. Praise God for that. That is a huge blessing. Before we move on from college, I'm wondering, if 3 weeks into every semester you're ready to quit because of the schoolwork, what was it like for you on the other fronts? Like, were you able to play on any of the society volleyball team type of things, or were you enjoying cheerleading for a society? I don't know. What were some of the student life things you were a part of?
So I loved the student life side of things.
All right.
Yes.
Is that what kept you around? I mean, or is it that?
Yes. I was in a society, enjoyed that. I played, I think, 1 semester for volleyball. I was a cheerleader for 1 semester.
Okay.
They were too strict for me. So I was like, no.
Too strict? Like,
yes, we had to
for
keep
what you
both
could or couldn't
feet.
cheer?
Yes,
okay.
yes. In high school, I was a tumbler, so I could do all the flips. And in college, we had to keep both feet on the ground.
I see.
So we couldn't do, flips.
Yeah.
I was an officer in society. I loved society. I loved the social part of school. I just didn't like all the work.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But again, my foster parents were right there.
Wow.
So, reverse psychology. My foster dad would say, all right, go ahead, quit. Throw in the towel. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and throw in. Of course, he knew you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Just hearing him encourage me.
Yeah.
He knew something in me that I didn't know. Like, he knew I was strong. He knew that I was a fighter, but I didn't recognize that in myself. So for him to, play that reverse psychology or use that reverse psychology on me, he knew what he was doing.
Wow.
Even if I didn't.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's such a blessing. It's
it
cool that he
is.
learned that about you so quickly and could use that to help, to actually help you. All right. So then as you, I don't know if this started in college or after college, but you're in the phase of now getting into what are you going to do for work? And are there any boys in your life? What was the timing on some of those things?
I think I had one boyfriend in college.
Okay.
And that was only maybe a year. And we remained friends. In the summertime, I would work at Camp Spearhead. I enjoyed doing that. And even if I didn't want to be, a teacher for them, I could still work with them.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoyed doing that. And then the summer between my junior and senior year. So I think in my junior year, the Lord had been working on me concerning my birth parents. And like I had in and out, I would talk with my mom. I gave her a Bible at one point because I was burdened for her. She was a good person. Like she did good things, but I knew that she didn't know Jesus. My dad, I hadn't seen him. And so to me, it was just weird that I'd be burdened for him, never thinking I'll never see him again.
Right.
But I started praying for both of them that the Lord would, would work in their hearts. They had gotten divorced over some time during my growing up years. And one day, to me, out of the blue, but of course we know it's part of God's plan, my social worker reached out and said, "Hey, your dad would really like to see you and your sisters. He's going blind and he wants to see you before that happens." So my sisters didn't go and see him, but I did because the Lord had been planting that seed. And I, of course, shared this with my foster parents. They knew that I'd been praying for him.
Yeah.
And so we went to a local mall and met them, him and my uncle. And that was one of the hardest things that I've done to this day.
Wow.
And I like to talk, but honestly, during that visit, there was like a rock in my throat where I couldn't talk. And I think it's because all these emotions, all these memories, this was the first time I had seen him since that tragic day of being taken from their home. And Pastor Tipton knew my burden and he shared the gospel. And that just moved me. It made me respect them and love them even more.
Wow.
Because they had all the reasons in the world to judge him.
Sure.
To talk negatively about him.
Yep.
But they never did.
Wow.
And for him to give my birth dad the gospel just really impressed on me what I have in my foster dad and my foster mom. And when we went home, they just let me have my time to mourn that time of what I'd lost and all the memories and all the feelings that I was having. They let me have that time and they respected me because they loved me. They were such, and they still are, such a godly example to me of what true Christians are and how we should be treating people.
It's really awesome to hear that God gave them the wisdom to know when to speak up.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, as you're there with your dad and you're overwhelmed, and completely understandably so, for him to know to speak up about what you're burdened about your dad hearing.
Yeah.
And then to also have the wisdom to know when to give you the space when you guys get home. I just think what a really practical demonstration of the wisdom God gave them to care for you so well.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
I know actually, when you're going through something hard, there are two options before you. You can either choose to be angry and bitter at God and everybody in your life, everybody who has hurt you, or you can choose to forgive and choose to trust. And I think without the people that God put in my life during my time at Miracle Hill and my foster parents, I could have easily chosen to hang on to that bitterness. And, sometimes I think, where would I be today without the people that God used in my life?
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'd be a Christian. I wouldn't be, a Christian mom. I wouldn't be a Christian school teacher. I mean, never did I think that this is what I would be doing. I didn't even think. I was so into survival mode for so many years. I'd never dreamed of wearing a white wedding dress and having children and going to college. Like, those weren't dreams that I had.
Yeah.
I just wanted to survive all of this, this stuff, this junk that I was going through. So to be on the other side of it is just, it is not my doing. I would have messed up a long time ago, but for God to use this is humbling.
Yeah. For
God to choose me is so humbling. God, I'm not wasted, God is not done with me. I didn't meet my husband until after college.
Okay.
Even though the one semester that I was a cheerleader, it was for his society. I didn't even know him.
So did you cheer then for some games he played in? Or
he didn't play. Okay, he was a town student. He was working, he would come to games. I don't know if he was at these games or not. Who knows?
That's funny.
But it was still fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
One thing before I ask you more about when Rick showed up in your life is those two different paths that are in front of someone who's in the middle of something really hard. How significant it is to hear you share of the freedom, of the just different life that it is when you choose the path of forgiveness, when it actually feels like it'd be fair or right for you to feel the way you did about those things because you were mistreated. You weren't treated the way you should have been, or even had the experience that in God's design, it would be right for a child to have. And yet for you to see God at work in you to choose that path of forgiveness and you to be able to say now the blessing that is compared to what it would have been otherwise, it's powerful to hear that because I think we do sometimes, whether it's in small ways or big ways, tend to hold on to things, whether it's a grudge that turns into bitterness or whatever towards people or towards an experience we had. And we can let that be something that just like, it becomes so deep that it greatly affects who we are in the future and what we experience in the future and what the people around us experience in the future compared to when we can let that go and the freedom that comes with that.
We're held captive to that bitterness and it is heavy.
Yeah.
But when you experience and give that forgiveness, there really is freedom. Like you breathe lighter. You feel lighter when you forgive. Yeah. I mean, it really is a physical thing that you experience.
Wow. All right. So how did you first meet your husband? What was that like? I mean,
if he were here, he would definitely want to have some say in this.
Hey, you get to skew this however you want.
I get to give my version. So I was done with college already. I ended up, even though I didn't want to teach, God still put me in a Christian school for kids with special needs. And I was a teacher's assistant.
Okay.
But I just find it funny that even though I didn't want to be a teacher, God was telling me, you're going to be one anyway, And I think it was probably my high school years. It was during some seminar or teen meetings that we were having, and the speaker encouraged us to make a list of things that we wanted in a future spouse.
Okay.
And some of the things that I put on there were
big paycheck.
No, somebody who enjoyed sports.
Okay.
Somebody who was a Christian, obviously, but not so serious that they didn't enjoy life.
Okay.
And somebody who was comfortable with kids with special needs, because that's what, that was my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to working at Camp Spearhead. After I was done with college, had my teaching, career, I worked one more summer at Spearhead, and I was older than most of the kids there. They were college students. I was a med tech, which meant I was the one giving the campers their medicine at meals or bedtime, whatever. I was an adult. I was not there to find a boyfriend or, that was not my thing. I was there to work.
Yeah.
And my husband was there, and I did not like the way he carried himself. To me, he was full of himself. And if you know my husband, this is not him. But first impressions, I just thought,
it's just the vibe.
I do not have time for this. I'm here to work. He is young, ignorant. He is full of himself.
Was he interacting with you?
Yes.
And so, so you're just like,
yes, because he said that his first interaction with me was at a dinner.
Okay.
And I was using manners, using a fork and a knife to rake my peas up onto my fork and eat. Not using my hands, just being polite.
Yeah.
And he was watching me because he had never seen anybody do that. And I was offended by this. And I don't remember that part. Anyway, I remember I was very much into running.
Okay.
So every morning I'd get up before I needed to get working, and I'd go for a run, 3 miles every morning on Highway 11.
Wow.
And that was, so refreshing. But I started having health problems. And Rick at the time was a health fitness major. He enjoyed exercise and things like that. And so he asked me one evening, hey, can I go running with you?
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to be rude. I am a Southerner.
Right.
And so I said yes, even though inside I was like, oh. So
I thought maybe you were just hoping to show him up, put him in his place a little bit.
Well, I did.
Okay.
I did. And he was one, like, he wants to get to know me, asking me questions.
Okay. While you're running?
Well,
He's one of those?
we ended up just hiking, around the lake and stuff. So he was asking, what kind of books do you like to read? What do you like to do in your free time? What's something about you that your parents don't know? And I thought, if my parents don't know, why would I tell you?
Yeah.
And I asked him, has anyone ever told you you're nosy? Remember, I'm a private person, and he was just trying to get to know me, and that just offended me that he was asking so many questions. But he was patient. He just kept being nice. And
so did you keep going on hikes?
No, that was the only one.
So just throughout that hike, he was being polite and being nice, even though.
Yes. One time I was being nice. I let you come one time. That's enough for me.
Okay. Move on.
Yes, move on. I had to finish camp a week early because I had to go back to school and get ready for the year. And I received an email from him. He didn't have my number. Of course, we weren't friends. My first response was, oh, of all people, him? So again, I'm still trying to be nice. And so I respond. And so eventually he asks for my number. And my friends are like, we don't know a whole lot about him. We don't know if he lives here, if he's a stalker, what's going on. You need to just give him one number at a time. So that's what I did. Each email would end with one number at a time.
Oh my goodness.
And then, so we decided,
and you only at the camp when you worked together, only hung out that one time hiking?
That,
other than maybe
we
just
interacted because of work.
Yeah, but that, wow.
So
maybe the backstory here that he never shared with you is he had seen you when you were cheerleading for his society while he was at a game all those years
Well,
before.
we had mutual friends too.
Okay.
That we later learned, they knew both of us. And they had told him, you're going to really like her. And so he knew that going in, but I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So we did talk and stuff. I'm not going to,
Right.
We talked and,
so these emails.
So and then we finally get to the point, okay, we both live in town. Mm-hmm. He still lived at home. His mom worked at Bob Jones. So we were close. So we decided, okay, let's meet up in public where I'm still safe. If I feel threatened at all, I can just run.
Or yell.
Yes. So we met at a park and we ended up talking on a park bench for 5 hours.
Whoa.
Getting to know each other.
How cool.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, he is not what I thought.
Yeah.
And he is very much like my foster dad. He is 6'2", gentle giant. He has such a tender heart. Loves, and if we go back to my list of what I wanted in a husband, he checked so many of those boxes. And
that's awesome.
So we just started hanging out more and he would come to church activities with me and getting to know my friends and things like that. So we obviously liked each other, but he asked for my testimony. And
in that first 5 hour conversation?
No, it was in one of the earlier times.
Before that?
It was after that.
Oh, I see. In the early stages, yep.
Yes, the early stages. And I was afraid to tell him because I had started to like him and I didn't want him to give me a label or just be weirded out by my past or anything. So I didn't tell him. And it took some time for me to finally feel he's safe. I can tell him my story and it's going to be okay. And so when I told him, shared my testimony with him and told him, this is my background, he wasn't weirded out. He just said, okay. And then I knew he's a keeper. And I can trust him because trust has always been a big thing for me. And he's my best friend for sure. I love being with him. He makes me laugh. He puts up with my craziness and he is definitely my person. And I couldn't imagine life without him.
Oh, what a gift.
Yeah. Oh, yes, for sure. He is probably one of the biggest gifts other than my children and my foster parents.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that 5 hour conversation really is when it just all changed for you guys. Like there'd been the emails after the little bit of camp interaction, but then after that, how much later was that from the summer you worked together? Was that like a couple weeks later? Or was that a few months later?
It was probably a few months later.
So he had just stayed interested in
he
pursuing.
He is a patient man.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Good for him.
Yeah.
That worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he did. I mean, yeah.
I know. My kids get to benefit from his height. I mean,
that's true. They are both tall.
Yeah.
How amazing.
But yeah, he's just been, so we dated for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
I was already out of school. He was finishing up. So after about 1.5 years, we got engaged, and we're engaged for 3 months and then got married.
Wow.
And we thought, life was going to be perfect. And something that I really had to work on was communication. Because I have to think through things and process things before I talk. And I want to make sure that I'm not going to lash out. And when we were doing our marriage counseling, the pastor said, communication is so important. If you have a problem with him or vice versa, how is he going to know that he has something to work on if you don't tell him?
Sure.
If you just hold it in, it's just going to build and build and build, and that is not going to be a healthy marriage.
Yeah. It shows how, as a speech minor, it shows that speech is not all there is to communication.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of knowing when and what to say and how to say it.
Yep. And it's definitely something that we use even almost 18 years later.
Yep.
We still have to practice it.
Yeah. All right. Almost 18 years later, and you've got 2 kids that are teenagers. What was that like for you and Rick, talking about whether or not to have kids? Was that a conversation you even had? And anyway, what were some of those early years of marriage like for you guys?
We didn't really. Okay, so the baby names were more important to him than for me. Okay. So before we even got married, he had 2 boy names picked out and 2 girl names picked out. He didn't really like the names that I picked out. I like the older names like Margaret and things like that. That didn't sit well with him. But this was a big deal. He thought about what the initials would be with certain names. He thought about if the kid was athletic, then we needed more of an athletic name. And he really,
all the details about
he thought through everything.
Yeah.
So we were married for 1 year, 2 years.
Okay.
So we had said, okay, let's maybe start trying for kids after 3 years. Again, our ways are not God's ways.
Yeah.
When we had started talking about this, God had already planted a little seed. So when we found out that we were expecting Andrew, we were in total shock. I cried.
Really? Yeah.
Rick didn't believe me. And really, for the first couple of months, maybe weeks, we didn't even talk about we're going to be parents. I mean,
just because it hit as such a shock for both of you.
Yeah, it was such a shock. And I remember crying into him saying, I just want to be a good mom. Because I just had flashbacks of what my mom was, what my childhood was like. And I didn't have a good example until I was a teenager. So what does that look like in those early years? But there's no turning back, so went through pregnancy fine for the most part. And then last trimester, I ended up with preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure.
Okay.
Andrew was also breech. So he ended up being 3 weeks early. And I was in shock the first couple of nights, I'm a mom. And that's all I could say was, this baby, I can't return him if I decide I don't like this.
And they let me leave with this?
Yes. What do I do with him?
Yeah.
how do I take care of, I mean, there's so many questions as a new mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think I slept that first night because it wasn't just shock, it was awe as well. Like, God gave this gift to me and I don't know what to do with it. But that just started a whole nother journey of experiencing God. Like, as a parent, you see and you start to understand a little more of God's heart.
Yes.
As they get older, as they go through those toddler years when it's hard. I mean, every stage is hard, but every stage is beautiful as well. But when you learn patience, when you learn forgiveness with your child, when you learn love with your child and you think, this must be what it looks like for God to love me, for God to forgive me when I've messed up, when I've been so dumb and, you know, so foolish in my behavior, so selfish in my behavior, but yet he still continues to be faithful and give me that unconditional love. That's when I really understood because I could experience it, you know, and even during pregnancy, the verse that talks about being fearfully and wonderfully made, knowing that there was a human being being formed inside me and I couldn't choose the hair color, the gifts, the eye color, the gender. I didn't have any part of that, but God did. Is just amazing to me.
It really is.
And you realize we do not understand God's ways, but we get to be a part of them. It is just so humbling.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember with Lauren, I was so emotional at Andrew's first birthday. I mean, so emotional. And Rick said, babe, it's his first birthday. He's not getting married. I mean, I was that emotional. Well, come to find out, we were expecting Lauren. So I had every reason to be emotional, not just because my baby was turning 1, but and even with her, there was still much learning to be done. I remember, and this is to my shame, when we found out we were having a girl, I was a little disappointed because I'd only experienced boys. And even then I thought, how can I love another baby? I mean, I was afraid that I would show favoritism and I would, you know, I just didn't know what to do. And I remember distinctly when we found out that we were having Lauren, God saying, she's a gift. You can't pick and choose my gifts. And that was so humbling for me. And I don't know if anybody, I'm sure other moms have experienced that when you really hope, you know, having this boy was such a good experience. I want another one, but then you don't get that. You don't get your way.
Right. You're
disappointed. But again, God knew I needed this girl. I mean, I wept a lot because she was so different from my firstborn and laughed a lot, still do. And now that she's a teenager, I love having a girl. I love doing her hair, getting her nails done, going shopping. Like God knew, and I knew this early on, but God knew that I needed her before I realized that I needed her. And having her has taught me more of how selfish I am, just how much I need Jesus, and that I can't do this parenting thing on my own. Like I need God's wisdom for sure. And it's just so cool how, and you guys know this, like how each child, same parents,
Yep.
same environment, and they are so different.
So different.
And and it's just made me realize how, again, God picks who he wants and the personalities to make up a family.
Yeah.
And just how beautiful that is.
Oh, it's so special. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that you mentioned there a little bit ago was about when you find out you're pregnant with a second, there's that little bit of fear of, can I love the next one as much as I love this first one? I think that's actually a surprisingly common thing. I've talked to so many people who say things like that.
Yeah.
I know even Sarah and I even had conversations about that back then when we found out we were pregnant again. There's this, and it's weird. I don't know. You just don't expect to think that way.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, can I love the next one as much as the first?
Yeah.
And I think a friend told her, oh, you're going to so quickly find it's like your love for the first doesn't change at all. Your heart just almost gets bigger.
Yes.
Or, something like that. And it's so true. So that's cool. And then it's also really neat that you needed a girl. You didn't know it, but you did.
I did.
And how fun.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on this a little bit as well, but were there any surprises for you or things that you'd want to share about the parenting itself? Like you mentioned toddler years already, or you mentioned the fact that the two children are different, and just navigating parenting is hard. It's why we need the wisdom so much. It's why we ask God for it.
Yeah.
But any random comments about like certain things that have helped over the years, whether it was a book or certain conversations that you and Rick had, or I don't know, anything like that, just related to parenting that comes to mind. That's such a journey. It's such an ongoing thing. It never stops. There's always more to learn. And
you think that, with your children, same parents, same environment, same forms of discipline work for us, both kids. We thought that it did, but because of their personalities, even discipline was different for them when they were younger. Andrew you just look at him and he straightened up. Like he is more sensitive to that. Whereas Lauren, our open book, she is our free spirit. You look at her and she's like, okay, let me see how far I can go before she really does something. And I remember having a conversation with this older lady in my church. Her kids were grown. And she said, keep speaking truth into her. And it's going to click. But just keep being faithful. Keep showing up. Because it is so tempting, especially in those younger years, to again throw in the towel and just say, I'm done.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. It's easier to do that than to be consistent.
Right.
That's when it's hard. And there were plenty of times being home with the kids, them getting into things where I just was so discouraged. And again, it just brought me back to God and just say, him reminding me of what unconditional love should look like. And I knew I wanted to be a good mom to my children because it's not what I had. And I wanted them, later to remember me as a fun, loving, patient mom. And having those older, experienced parents speak into you and giving you that encouragement was so helpful to me. So I think that's probably the big thing for me was just I didn't have time to read books. They were only 20 months apart. Yeah. So I was definitely busy in those early years.
I think it's really special to hear. I know that I've gotten to watch firsthand how much you love both of your kids and gotten to see that up close. And I just think it's so awesome. So it's awesome to hear different ways you've been influenced. And I think something you said there that really hits home for me is that idea of it's harder to be consistent, staying after the things you feel like God's called you to as a parent, to patiently love and remind of truth, to draw close and and care for them by doing that over and over again, rather than just throwing in the towel or saying, you know what, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's your life. It's like,
that's right.
But instead to actually,
if you want to waste it, go right ahead. I don't care if you're only 3.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, I'd love to kind of segue now into a little bit of how does your story start to interact with Hampton Park, our church body, our school? I know you mentioned, early on while you're at a SCAC's Fine Arts thing, you at least know what Hampton Park is and have heard of it and competed against Hampton Park. But as an adult, when did you start to get connected to Hampton Park? What caused that to happen? What was the timeline there?
Yeah, so Rick and I were just talking about this on Sunday.
Okay.
Because in August, we will have been at Hampton Park for 10 years.
Wow.
Already 10 years.
That's awesome.
It's gone so fast.
That's awesome.
So before that, we just felt like the Lord was working in both of our hearts that we needed to find a different church. Just some things going on in our other church, and we started looking around. We thought we wanted a small church.
Okay.
So we visited some small churches, but they didn't really have much for youth. And we didn't want to just go for a little bit and then when our kids got to be teens, leave again. We wanted a church where our kids could grow up in that same environment. And Rick and I both had things that we would like, small groups being one of them. So we started looking around, and we had friends, a couple of friends on different occasions, they weren't together, say, you should really check out Hampton Park. It's changed a lot. We didn't know what that meant because we'd never gone to the church. I had only experienced Hampton Park through school.
Yep.
So we visited one Sunday, and we went to each church that we visited 2 Sundays, just in case, they were having an off week or something where the pastor was gone.
Yep.
And we wanted it to be a family decision.
Okay.
So we went to Hampton Park, and you guys were remodeling the auditorium. So we were meeting in the lunchroom or the MAC. And of course, most churches have greeters. And sometimes we felt they're just doing their job or whatever.
Yep.
When we came to Hampton Park, I forgot the man's name who was with us. He greeted us. Rick had gone up and said, hey, we're visiting and we don't know where to go. If you've ever been, Hampton Park is big and it's so easy to get lost. We didn't know where to go. And this gentleman walked us to drop off our kids to their locations, and then he stayed with us, helped us find seats, and it was genuine. Like, we just knew this is different. And at the time in our lives, we were having a lot of changes. We had just moved. We were obviously changing churches and just a lot going on. And we just felt spiritually dry. And when we were in that first service, the singing moved us so much. Like, it was healing for us. And then on the way home, we talked, what did you think of your class? What did you learn? How was the teacher? Things like that. And then Rick and I would compare notes, and we thought this was a good experience. But we're not going to get our hopes up. We're gonna go again, see what it's like. Same thing the next Sunday. We felt like we'd been there for a while. People were talking to us, just really friendly. Sometimes when we go to church, it's almost like formality to sing. We come, we show up, we sing. But even 10 years later, the singing is one of our favorite parts. And Rick and I were asking each other, do you still like Hampton Park? And we both, yes, we still like Hampton
that's
Park.
awesome. Yep.
What do you, now that we've been there for 10 years, what do we appreciate about Hampton Park? And I, listened to him and I knew what I appreciated, but I'm more closely connected since I work at the school.
Yep.
And to hear the same things, we both love the singing. We both it's an experience. Like you get to be part of that worship and to see people praising God. It's different from any church that I've been a part of when it comes to the singing. And Pastor Fred preparing his own heart first before he stands before us and leads us. I just respect that so much about him that he, does that work.
Oh, praise God for that. I agree.
Yeah.
It is such a gift. And
it really is.
I think it's really cool to hear that from the very beginning you felt that there was something genuine, there was something authentic about both the person who greeted you and helped you and about the singing, and that neither was just, like you're saying, like just okay, I'm the greeter, I'm supposed to smile and say hello, or it's time for singing and we do that at church, so we're just doing it. But that it was authentic. Like God's at work in these people and it's just showing, whether it's expressing thanks to him in song or whether it's greeting somebody at the door. That's really cool.
And I just remembered his name, Mr. Henderson.
Mr. Henderson. Oh, Andy Henderson?
Andy. He had 3 kids.
Yes.
At Hampton. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I could see his face, but I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So now you've been here for a while, and I mean, a decade, that's some time.
I know.
You mentioned the singing and how meaningful that's been for you. That's something you love about it, but what's something you'd want Hampton Park to be known for? Is there anything that comes to mind when you hear that question? Is there something you'd want it to be known for? Not to make like Hampton Park's name famous, but like you would just want like this to be a true characteristic about Hampton Park.
Well, our motto is life by the book. I just want us to be known for living that out. Like how we interact with each other, with visitors. If we see somebody who seems a little lost, don't just look at them and look away. Like welcome them, because Hampton Park is our home. Yeah. And we are the hosts. So we need to welcome them in.
That's a good point.
In our looking around, we experienced the opposite, sadly. And that when I experienced that, I thought, I want to be a part of a church that welcomes the visitors in.
You already feel uncomfortable enough when you're
Yes, we're the
really
visitors
out,
here. Like we're coming in onto your turf, into your home. So, in my mind, I'm expecting them to make us feel welcome. Obviously, the preaching. I love that Drew, he doesn't preach at us. It really feels like he's having a conversation with us. And I've always felt that way. And I love that our church doesn't esteem him higher than everybody else. And he doesn't want that. When we were doing the new members class, he really emphasized his word holds as much weight as every member in our church. Wow. And that just really shows humility.
It does. Oh, yeah.
And
it makes a big difference.
I think that sets the tone for everybody else.
Right.
And that's what our church needs to be known for.
Yeah. When your primary teaching pastor is willing to show the humility God's working in him in that way, that makes a huge difference across the board. It does set the tone. I totally agree. All right. Adult friendships can be tough. Yes. It's weird. I didn't know that until I was an adult. And it's funny. There really is a degree of like, I know plenty of people. And then sometimes if your spouse or a friend says like, who's one of your closest friends right now? Or who are your closest few friends? And sometimes it's really easy. And other times you're like, it's kind of, I don't know. Like I'd say these people, but I guess I haven't even really hung out with them that much recently, you know, because life gets so busy. And so your closest friend, you might not have seen for 8 months or, I don't know. It's just weird. So as an adult, do you feel like you've been able to find some close friends, and are there any things that have helped you guys continue to have close relationship, or what are some things that you've done to build community and connection even in these years?
I think that for me, as I've gone through different stages with my kids, My friends have changed as well. And not that I lose them or just walk away, but I tend to, and now that I'm teaching at Hampton Park, it's my friends have changed because of that. But one of my closest friends for the first several years, while I was homeschooling, the first year that we were there, and then early years at Hampton Park, was Karis Johansson. And even to this day, I mean, even though our paths go different ways, she's one that if I see her at church, I feel like we can just pick up where we left off. She is so kind. And if I have questions or if I'm just discouraged, she's probably one of my go-tos. That she's just so encouraging, non-judgmental, just a good friend.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's great. In this current season, and where God has you now, what are some things that you feel like have been themes or truths that he's been teaching you or kind of keeping in front of you as of late?
I feel like every year, every school year, the Lord has given me like a theme that he just will bring, he'll remind me of frequently, whether it's conversations or messages at church or interaction with students. And I feel like this year it's been trust. Just trust him. Trust him that things are going to get done. Trust him that my kids are going to be okay. Like on those away trips for games, there's a tiny bit of fear because you hear of bus accidents and things like that, or injuries. And sometimes we feel like if we're not there, something's going to happen. And just giving that over, and just God loves them more than I do. And just knowing that he's in control. My kids are going to be okay without me. Trusting that my students are going to know Jesus without me being there all the time, me being over them. Trusting that they're going to see Jesus in me, in my reactions, in my conversations with them. Trusting that in his timing, they're going to build their own relationships with him. There was a time when I felt like they're not going to get saved without me, saving them, or me speaking the right words, or me doing the right things. And that's not the case. I'm not the one who can do the saving. Even in my own kids' lives, their relationship with the Lord is theirs. And I'm accountable for my part in giving them the gospel, taking them to church, exposing them to these things. But I have to trust him that everything's going to work out according to his plans and not mine. So I think this year it's been trust for sure, but it's been grace, showing grace to myself, that not everything has to be perfect. Not everything is going to get done, and that's okay. Showing grace to my peers, to my students, to my husband,
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
When are some times in life that you maybe have felt like closest to God? You feel very connected to him. Is there, I don't know, and I know you've mentioned singing there on Sundays. So maybe what is a time or a certain setting you place yourself in that helps with that?
I love the beach. I love going for morning walks at the beach because that definitely just reminds me of how powerful he is. And if he can control that much water, he can control my life. Just morning times before my kids wake up and I'm just able to do my Bible reading is definitely another time when I can just really focus on his words and just understand and realize these people in the Bible aren't characters. These were real people
right.
going through hard things just like me, you know? I think that's something that I can get every morning and feel close to God is when I can have that quiet time in the morning.
Yeah. Okay, so I like to end our episodes with these two questions. And so the first one I want to ask is about your theme. So how would you, when you look at what God's done in your life, how would you sum up what he's done? There's obviously a lot of themes throughout and all that he's done in your life, but what is maybe one of the things you would say would be a theme of what you want someone else to hear as they hear your story?
Yesterday I was thinking about this.
Okay.
And I was driving somewhere and I had the music on and several songs in a row came on about the goodness of God. And with, sharing my testimony and all this. And I just thought, and I know this, but it was such a good reminder that even in those hard things, God was there. And God was in control of it. Everything. From the little things to the big things, from the hard things to the sweet things. God was a part of it. And he was good then, and he's good today. Yeah. And sometimes we think, and even earlier on when I was at Miracle Hill, I remember crying out to God, what did I do wrong? Why are you punishing me?
Yeah.
And he wasn't punishing me. I was being refined and I was being brought to him. I was being drawn to him, but I had to go through these hard things first. But it doesn't mean that he was punishing me. It doesn't mean that he's not a good God, that he'd lost control of my life.
Right.
He hadn't. Everything was being done by design, and he's good. And as I get older and experience more of life, different things in life, I can still say that because he reminds me daily that he's good. And if there's anything that anybody can take away from this time with you, with me, it's that God is good. No matter what, he's good for sure.
I even think one of the ways he's shown his goodness to you personally was what you were sharing with me and Sarah when you showed up today, mentioning how he has, ultimately made a path for your children to hear about his goodness because of his work in your life. And you're the first, as far as you know, in your family to come to a saving faith in Jesus. And I think that's incredible.
Yeah. That's
so cool. Like, that's an incredible, incredible gift.
It really is. Because I think, why me? And often even going through these trials, I think, why me? Why are you, what is it about me? What is going on? Why me? But then I have to think, why not me? He created me for his glory. He has something good for me. And I just have to be willing. So yes. And I just, it's humbling to think that he used me to break a cycle, to break a mold that was in my family and pull me out from that and allowed me to start something new and give my kids that. Experiencing everything that I have is such good motivation for me daily to be a good mother, a good parent to my children, and a good wife to my husband. I think it's one of the best gifts that I can give them.
Absolutely. Oh man. And I'll be praying that it just keeps going, that there's a legacy of faith now that God's building for your family and those who come behind. That would be incredible. And then the other question I like to ask is, if you could offer one piece of advice or just a word of encouragement to our church body, what would it be?
What keeps coming to mind is just being open-handed. Just not being greedy with our time, not being greedy with what we have, even our relationships. Just just being open to what God wants for us to do, being willing to do whatever, even if that means going up and talking to that person at your, couple of rows away from you at church. You might feel embarrassed, you might feel nervous, but God can use you in their lives sometime. Just being open and willing.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Yes. Thank you for letting me. This was fun.